Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Practical Pet Business. We know you've got a lot on your plate. Thanks for taking some time and spending it with us. Lorin, tech is everywhere. I've been to several conferences in and outside of the pet industry, and I am struck by every conversation starts with how much tech has been brought into something that they've been doing for many, many years. It's almost like everything has to have a tech bend to it. It's like, well, we've got this, we've got AI, we've got whatever it is. It's almost to me the new, it's organic, it's natural, it's human made, it's human grade. It's how are you seeing this tech push? Because I appreciate it and I always want to, see things move forward. But is it really helping, or is it just a crutch and another label that folks are pointing to?
I think it can be both. It just depends on how you're using it and your perspective of it. Um, it's an easy thing to bash because it takes the human element out of it to a great degree. I'm a fan. I view it as a tool. I like to utilize it for things, but there's got to be. I like it from a business standpoint. It makes things sharper, cleaner, crisper. Um, Emails are better written,
Oh yeah.
better than what I just said, or more well written. The when you're trying to convey something, it AI seems to be better at it, and you could tweak it as long as you learn how to utilize it. Um, where it becomes concerning right now is when you rely on it to the point that you think that it's infallible because it's learning, right? It's a technology that is learning, and it's
Right.
learning faster than any human's ever been able to learn, which is good, bad, and scary. And at the same time, it's getting to a point that it's going to be predictive. It already is to an extent. Where I see concern right now is, and I'm on the fence of this, and I'll explain why. There are companies that are actually using AI to formulate pet foods. And if you don't know what you're doing, for example, I don't know how to build a website. And because I utilized I was able to build a website in, I think, 3 hours. And it wasn't what somebody who does it for a living could do. But for somebody who just needed to get something up and running in the interim, it worked out great. And then I was able to turn it over to a professional, and they got the gist of what I was looking for, and they improved on it. Um, and that's only going to get better. If you think that you can just run with it without going to the experts, and I'm only speaking right now, then I think that's scary. And that said, there are some humans that are formulating pet foods that aren't doing such a great job.
Yeah. So I'm right there with you. There are things that I absolutely love about it. And then there are things that just naturally are cause for a deeper look. I love that it enables all areas, and it's rare that you can say all areas. All is so defining there, but quicker, uh, much wider reach. Those things we just couldn't do as humans. So I love that element of it. I think you're right. It enables you to get things done in a manner that we just couldn't otherwise do, whether it's time, resources, etc. So I do love to see that. And then there's that also evolution of, there's a lot of us out there for a long time who have done that deeper dive and who have been kind of at odds, if you will. And what's really interesting is I think this quicker pathway has also allowed, I mean, I'm someone who uses a lot of South American herbs. And I would get a ton of, I don't know what that is. I don't know that you should be using that for your pet. And I'd be like, well, I do know I should be using it because I've done the research. And I know the people who really have the depth of that. And now it's nice because I can just quickly, turn to something enabled and go, here you go. Just, you want to read the 12-second version of it or the highlights, and so there's also that aspect of it. So I really like to see that. And I think that's the other interesting part of this too, is depending on where you're located, those resources are or aren't available except online.
Right.
And so I think that's been that other part of it. For the longest time, I heard, well, I only stick to these two types of herbal supplements. And I'd say, can I just ask why? Well, that's because that's what's out there and been studied. And well, and I'd always have to correct them and say, that's what you're aware of has been studied. But if you actually go to these other areas of the world, it's been deeply studied and been done for 100, 200, 300 years. So, that can't be the reason I don't use something or don't try something. So I love that innovation. I love that expediency to be able to say, okay, I'm empowered to know that I'm in the right direction. And then now you can get up to speed quickly. To your point, and I love that you called this out. When you're reliant on just the technology, that's where we start to go wrong. But there have been plenty of people that we've been reliant on. And I've said this before on a lot of different things. Go back a decade ago, and I'm guilty of it as well, because you only work with what you have the knowledge on. But I have changed how I approach different things within the pet world, within my care for my pets from a decade ago, because we got better information. We got new research studies. We got more information. So there were plenty of people that were wrong, including myself, 10, 15 years ago. There are plenty of people wrong now. So I think the marrying of the two is something that I'm excited about, that hopefully that just continues to further us and quicker get us to better outcomes. Because to me, that's what we're trying to achieve, better outcomes. We're not going to get it perfect. I
Well,
still,
it's sort of like having a freelancer, right? Without
yeah.
going to a freelancer. Those companies that so many of us have used over the years for, I just need somebody to do this. And you reach out to a freelancer company, there's so many of them out there. And you hire them for something and you get close to what you want, or you get exactly what you want, or you don't get what you want, and it all varies. I look at AI that way. If I don't get exactly what I want when I put it in, then I can tweak it, and I have several AI platforms that I can utilize, that some may be a little bit better, quicker, more geared towards what I'm trying to do than something else. And it just eliminates that, um, and this is good and bad. It eliminates the human element
Okay.
that you would need. It's an employee that you are paying a flat fee for, for whatever it is you need without the employee,
Yeah.
and that's bad if it's a potential job loss for an employee. It's great from an employer perspective because you don't have all the things that come with that. And I'm not talking just about the interactions from human to human, but the taxes and, the all the government stuff that comes with that, state and
Or,
federal and
or the
everything else.
Yeah, I love that you call that out because that's important for the businesses in particular. The things that you would otherwise like to repurpose your human employees to be doing, to
Mhm.
me, that's what I see it for, is that enabler of, hey, I can quickly get through inventory management. I can quickly get through the reports and get to that quicker. This is working, this isn't, and I can use the people that I have, because let's be, transparent here. We continue to hear from everybody. They've got a shortage of people. So
Right.
this is a way to fill that gap and have your people doing what you need, people to be doing
Right.
and really maximize their strengths. And I think that's another important part of it. I look forward to, and it's something, I've got the wearables and all that. Belle wears a collar. I can, check, how active she was, when was she sleeping, all these other things. To be able to walk into the vet's office now and just here you go, here's a download of all that, you know, that saves everybody a lot of time, a lot of asking questions. It doesn't feel like it necessarily, but if you compound that over 12 to 16 appointments a day, if you're just saving 10 minutes, I've just saved you 2 or 3 hours in the day. That's huge. Same thing for the stores out there. Think about how much time I don't know, I got to check inventory or I've got to check this, I've got to check that, check status. Um, and now to have those interactions, it's funny, having been a vendor, we would create these cheat sheets and inevitably, we'd laminate them and try and make them all unique and pretty and all the rest of that stuff, send them to the stores, and within a month or two they'd be misplaced someplace or beat up and all the rest of that. Now it's like I'm seeing the ability to really provide quality information, and folks don't have to spend as much time learning 50 different vendors. And I think because of just the state of where we are with employment, I think that is really important and a positive of what technology is bringing, to the businesses in the pet space in particular, because there's a lot out there, something new's popping up every week. Having a quick go-to module. It's funny because it used to really upset me if I saw someone on their phone, it'd be like, hey, I need you present in.
I remember that.
Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah.
now I'm like, well, as long as you're not on, TikTok or Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, if you're on Practical Pet Business, you can be on Facebook and all that. But, the reality is, I see it now as more yeah, absolutely. And let me give you that. And it's kind of become that third party confirmation that, the pet parent needs, the employee can utilize. It's not just what I'm saying, but here, real quick, and we can look. And I think that's also the other part of it is the customers are able to be empowered more by this as well. So they're coming in, saving you some time. I know there's a lot of vets out there, a lot of doctors and nutritionists who tell me I don't like that. Doctor so and so is not, Doctor Technology. It used to be Doctor G, but we won't, say that. We'll say Doctor Technology is not always right. Correct, but neither are the humans. And I think coming in with some knowledge base, certainly helping out everybody in the process. But yeah, so I love all
Well,
this. And I'll tell you too, the other thing is I'm seeing a proliferation of the vet side of things where we're seeing more telehealth and virtual pet, not just in the vet space even really. I mean, I'm seeing, let me be your virtual trainer and behavioral problem addresser. I have a good friend who just went through that with their cat where it was like, hey, I I need some help. Let me jump online, got the help. I was like, okay. So
well,
tell
that's just
me,
it. You can do that you don't have to. The thing that's great about it is if you actually learn how to use AI, you don't have to be, you don't have to have the level of knowledge that people have had 10, 15, 20 years ago, which is bad, right? But if you're limited in availability of help, you've only got so many hours in a day, and you also have a family and you're running a business and it's really helpful to take shortcuts, and we've been taking shortcuts for years. So it's really nice if you're an industry retailer that, somebody has a question and you need to help them, and you can, you know, at least get a direction from AI, and you can inquire more and you can get further information. It points you where to look deeper. The other thing I like about it again is how much of an extra employee it is. For example, for like people who need marketing help, but don't necessarily need a full-time marketing person. Maybe they need some social media help, but they don't want a full-time person, and they don't want to do it. It's an easy thing to plug into AI. AI will put it together for you and you can boom, you can run with it. It's so easy without being the expert at it. And I think again, if people look at all of the opportunities, everything that crosses your mind that you think you might need somebody for, that you think you don't know about, that you're looking for a shortcut, that you want to know how to do better, plug it into an AI platform and see what you get back. Because it not only gives you options, it triggers things for you to think about. And it's like, oh, I didn't think about that one. I need to look at that now too. And it gives you options and deepens your understanding. So it's not all bad.
Yeah.
It's not all evil. It's if you use it as a tool and not a crutch, right? Then I think that it can be super helpful and minimize your costs and maximize your opportunities.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you hit on earlier too. It allows you to get to a stronger foundation and then you can move on, whether it's doing deeper research yourself or hiring an expert in that space. This brings you up to speed, whether it's, predicting trends in your business and all that. I love being able to I'm a big data person. This is that next step in taking data. It's like, it's great to have the data. How many people have data and never put the data to use? You and I have talked about
Right.
that so much. Now, using these tools, and there are plenty of them, you can really get a deep snapshot of your picture of your business and what's going on and the predictions. And I think that's just so helpful, especially in these days when we're all running in a million places. That being said, some folks are stuck, and will not change. So you may be
Yeah.
one of those. Let us know what you think. How are you using AI? What are you seeing within your own business? Let us know. Send us an email, practicalpetchat@gmail.com. Let us know on any of the social media networks or wherever you're getting the podcast. But this is exciting. And I can tell you, when you send us those, I'm going to dump them into a AI and they will, and I already know the results. I see, this is one where I don't need to have an AI spit it out for me. We love Lorin. You're okay
Oh,
with
please.
so no, but thank you all. We know you've got a lot on your plates. We know you've got a lot going on. Good luck this week. Have another great week in the pet world. Thanks for joining us here on Practical Pet Business.
Thanks, guys.
The content of this podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as, nor should it be construed as, professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment for your pets. Always seek the advice of a qualified veterinarian with any questions you may have regarding your pet's health or medical condition. Never disregard professional veterinary advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. The hosts and the guests of this podcast are not liable for any actions taken based on the information shared during these episodes. Any reliance on the information provided is solely at your own risk. Copyright 2025 Practical Pet Chat, all rights reserved. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or reproduction of any content from this podcast, including but not limited to audio, scripts, and show notes, is prohibited without prior written consent. The opinions and views expressed by the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Practical Pet Chat.